Hello and welcome to another Battlebox and Beyond. Joining with me is Mike. And this week we're going to be doing Menoth. Right, Menoth, as you all know really, it's all about fire, burning the heretics and all that kind of good fun really.
A lot of things like blessed weapons, sacred armour or buffs and stuff like that, so we've tried to keep in the theme with that.
Yeah, so going through like we have before, we'll just go over a couple of units which should be useful no matter which list you go for. Some solos, some jacks, and then some casters, just to give you a good baseline of an army. And then from there you can go to your heart's content, following the works of the creator. So,
Alright, so we've start off with the units like we done last time.
Yep.
We're going to start off with the Choir of Menoth.
Always good.
Always good. It's going to help your jacks out a lot. Got some great special abilities like their hymns. If you want to go for a couple of those, Kev.
Okay, right. The hymns, they've got they're all range 3, and they could each model can in the unit can sing to a separate jack.
That's handy.
Yeah, so literally this one unit, you can either have 4 guys or 6 guys. You can potentially buff a lot of your jacks. So Menoth do like their jacks. First off, you've got the Hymn of Battle. Warjack gains +2 to attack and damage rolls.
That's always going to be good.
Yeah, I mean that suddenly goes just any jack here. If you suddenly go Rat 5, Power 12, for example, just picking numbers up, that suddenly goes to Rat 7, Power 14.
That's going to be really handy.
Yeah,
makes you be able to hit things. It's going to do a lot more damage in combat.
Yeah. Yeah, and same for the melee. If you're Mat 6, you're suddenly the equivalent of Mat 8. If you're Power 16, that's now Power 18. It just...
It's going to help you get through armour.
Everywhere. The other one, next one I got is the Hymn of Passage. The Warjacks cannot be targeted by non-magical range attacks. So...
That's pretty much most attacks in the game.
Yeah, so literally, especially early turns, as you're moving your jacks up, you can be putting down your fire. You're shooting and everything, and
they can't shoot you back.
They can't shoot you back, so that means your jacks are more likely to get to combat intact.
Yep. Get the combat, do the damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last one is the Hymn of Shielding. Warjacks cannot be targeted by enemy spells.
So, can you have 2 of these on one jack?
No.
That's a shame.
I'll just read it out just now. So, target friendly faction Warjack. When a model in this unit performs a hymn special action, choose a hymn. Each activation, all models in the unit performing a hymn must perform the same one. So you can't chop and change. That's something to bear in mind. If target Warjack is in range, it is affected by the hymn. While affected by the hymn, Warjack cannot be affected by another hymn. So yeah, it does say that.
Explains it all there for you, nice and simple.
But the that Hymn of Shielding, though first impressions you think not as good as the other 2, if you go against a faction or a warcaster that specialises in debuffing to make you easier to hit, you can't do stuff. I mean, the classic one is, say, a Crippling Grasp, for example.
Yep.
If you know that's coming up, it might be better to protect you from that.
So you're saying if you're going against like sort of Crick sort of style play.
Cricks would be the classic example because they don't have necessarily as much shooting, so you don't have to worry about that, but you can protect you against the spells.
Yeah.
So it gives you that versatility.
That's alright, it's a nice solid choice.
Okay.
And the fact they're only 2 points makes them nice and cheap as well.
Yeah, they do like being there, and they're always about just protecting the jacks.
Yeah.
I'll just go to the next option.
Page 96.
Was one out. Oh, you can never get it right. So
No, we know you can't never get it right, but
carry on.
hopefully we're helping people get these right.
We can only hope.
Yeah.
Right, next unit we've chosen is the Exemplar Errants. These are a very good core unit to your army. Mike, if you want to go through this.
Yeah, start off with some of the special rules. They've got advanced deployment of Fearless, so they're starting up an extra 6 inches on, and they're not running away. Their self-sacrifice is amazing. It means if your model gets disabled by an attack, instead of that model dying, you can choose another model in the unit to die instead.
Always useful, so you can have the first wave that's going to be charging next turn still around to enemy shooting, because you can pick off the people further back.
As long as it's a model within 3 inches, you can do it.
Yeah. The other great one is if they get charged.
Yep.
So you've got your 5 guys, and they're charged by 5 guys. First one charges your first one, hits, wounds.
You take off the guy.
You take off another. You take off, say, number 2. Then the charger number 2 suddenly hasn't got anyone he's fighting, so you're actually cutting down how many attacks you get back.
Yeah.
You can do some silly little shenanigans like that.
That's cool. The other things to notice, these guys have got the heavy crossbow, which is blessed, means it ignores armour and defence bonuses.
And magical.
And their magical attacks. And their sword's the weapon master. So, as a Mat 7, Rat 6 unit, they're pretty much the jack of all trades.
And they're pretty good at everything. They're not just master at none. I mean, they're very good stats. 5 points for 6 guys, 8 points for 10 guys. What's not to love about them? They're good armour, good mat, good rat. They're already up the table a bit. Fearless, magical, weapon master. They've got all the toys.
Would you do anything else with this unit, or just leave them like that?
Well, I would. For this unit, I would look for 2 reasons. I would look at the standard and officer. One, to give them 2 extra models in that unit.
Yep.
And also, the officer does give them a few bonuses.
Yep. Like Pathfinder.
Yeah, which is one thing they are lacking. If suddenly you can run through terrain, charge over walls. You can do all of those bits which without Pathfinder can really hinder you.
Yep.
They also have. He also gives them as a tactic quick work, which enables if they destroy one or more enemy models in melee, if they're out of combat, then they can immediately make a range attack. So again, you're really.
So on the charge, you kill the first guy and you get a shoot at another guy.
Yeah.
That's why it's going to be handy.
And then, as an added little bonus, the standard bearer gives them purity, so they can't be targeted by enemy spells. So again, even more defensive. You can't, and it's enemy spells, so you can put your buff spells on them.
Buffs, but the enemy can't put their debuffs.
Yeah.
Or try to kill them with spells.
Yeah. So it's really it's. Well, you look at that whole package. You're looking at about a 10-point unit there. Yeah,
10-point unit, which are going to be up in your opponent's face early on in the game, and they're going to last.
They're going to last, and you can't ignore them. You can't leave. You can't just say we won't engage them, because they will shoot you. If you try and engage them, they can easily fight their way out.
Yep.
You can't cast spells at them. They're just a very, very frustrating unit.
Yes. And the last one for the units we've chose are the Bastions.
Yeah.
Again, these are big, they're strong, they're medium base this time. They're 8 damage boxes each. A leader in 2 grants is 5 points, a leader in 4 grants is 8 points. So a lot more pricey, but you're getting what you pay for.
Yeah.
So if you want to go for a few of their nice little rules.
Okay, first things first. They've got 8 wounds each, so they're a lot more survivable to small arms fire. Their weapons have got reach, weapon master, and magical, and they're blessed. So they're gonna hit like a truck.
Yeah.
You can't really do much in a way to stop them. Yeah, you can't put your defenses.
They're going against base stats, not bonuses.
Yeah, and even ethereal stuff, they can still hurt.
Yep.
So there's not much they can do.
But the thing I noticed is a sanguine bond.
Yeah. Basically, when a model in this unit suffers wounds, you can pass those wounds round the unit as you like. So you can either, if it's nickel and dime wounds, you can just keep spreading it. But if, say, one model takes a huge hit, the opponent rolls really high, or it's a big attack, like from a colossal, for example, you can say, okay, he's going to take the lot, and you're looking at, as if you went for a max unit, that's 40 wounds.
Split as you please, pretty much.
Yeah, and then we won't go into it in too much detail, but just coming out now is a Bastion solo, the Bastion Sensual, who has an ability where they can recover wounds. So they are just a fantastic anvil.
Yeah.
Well,
40 wounds spread how you please, pretty much, is going to be.
Yeah. Power 12, blessed weapon master.
Could there be any bad way of that? Could there be any downside to being able to spread the wounds like that?
Well, the only downside is if you keep picking away at them, eventually you'll get it so each model's only got 2 or 3 wounds each. So then a charge, you will be losing models. But compared to Centrati, Gatormen, Man of War, all of those other medium multi-wound models, normally when you shoot them and you put 10 wounds on them, for example, or even the 8 wounds to kill them, that model's dead. This unit, you go early turns, 8 wounds, spread it round, and you still quite likely
have the whole unit to do some damage hopefully next turn.
Yeah, that majority of that unit to go in and do the damage. So it just gives you that extra bit of life to get that initial charge.
I just wonder, it don't sound like a downside then, because obviously you're going to have to do models longer. Just means later on in the game, they might only take 1 hit each, as opposed to the 8, but you would have already taken them off by then.
Yeah, so they're a fantastic unit. It takes a little bit of practice and experience to learn when to transfer the wounds. A bit like the bond that the Errants had, when to sacrifice. But with a bit of practice and a bit of table time, fantastic abilities.
Good unit for a starting choice, though.
Yeah, it gives you something that's a bit more robust to take the damage along with the jacks and can still fight quite nicely.
Yeah. And the next, we're going to go on to the solos. Yeah.
So, yeah, hopefully that gives a few models there that people can work on. So now we get, as you said, onto the solos. Let me just find it. There we go. Right. Okay.
So that's the 3 units we've chose.
Yeah.
So the solos, first one.
We'll do the Hierophant.
Yep.
Who is a Warcaster attachment. So they follow along your Warcaster and give certain abilities and bonuses. A bit like last week we were talking about the War Dog.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's the same sort of thing, but he's not quite as fighty or as canine as the War Dog.
Being human, I wouldn't expect him to be canine, but yeah. So if you want to go for a couple of his special things.
Okay, all right. First things first, he's got Harmonious Exaltation. You only asked me to do this because of the silly words.
Yeah. If you can't pronounce it, get a monkey to do your work.
Where's the banana?
Downstairs.
Okay.
Have it after you finished.
All right. It's his star action and it's range 5. If it's in range, once per turn, when the Warcaster is casting a spell, reduce its cost by 1. So, yeah,
one extra fury to play with.
Focus,
fury, same difference.
Warmachine, focus. But always useful just to be able to give you that extra resource.
Yeah.
You can either give an extra focus out to a jack, keep an extra point of focus for your armour.
Yeah.
Or be able to cast an extra spell. It's always useful. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Nah, there's nothing wrong at all.
His
Next.
other star action, so you can only do one or other of these, is heal. Choose a friendly living model base to base with him. That model can heal D3. Notice it's just a friendly living model.
Yep.
So he could go up to behind those bastions, for example.
So you keep knocking on the very back one, who this guy's in base to base with, and just healing him every turn.
D3, yeah. So again, hopefully your caster isn't taking any damage, but the bastions might be taking the first shot because where they're medium base, your caster can hide behind them. And the Hierophant could help keep them going. So again, looking at those, rather than individual
pieces,
look at as all the cogs working together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something you can do.
The last one is the spiritual
conduit. Yeah.
As Warcaster's in model's command range, the Warcaster casts spells, and the point of origin for that spell gains +2 range. So +2 on all your range for your spells.
Not only that, it just says, and it's when you cast a spell, and its point of origin, and is the point of origin. So it's not, you can't do it when you're using it as an spells through Arc Nodes. It has to come from the Warcaster. But +2 range. I mean, quite a few buff spells.
It's the difference between being slightly out and being in.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the buff spells have only got like a range of 6, and if you want to keep behind cover, they might just be out. Whereas that extra 2, you can keep your caster safe, still do those spells.
Yeah. You've got a little bit more leeway with your movement.
And yeah, so again, it's always useful. There's nothing ever wrong with that.
And the last solo we've chosen.
Yeah, there you go.
The Vassal of Menoth.
Yeah, you can have this one.
Yeah, cheers.
Oh, it's all got easy words.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so what was that first spell?
What? Oh, ancillary attack.
Yeah, that one. Say again.
Ancillary attack.
Yeah, it's a range 5. It's target a friendly faction warjack. The warjack, as long as it's in range, immediately makes one normal melee or ranged attack. The warjack can make an auxiliary attack special action only once per turn.
Yeah, I mean,
so that means you can get one of these guys to make the Jack do something. You can't have two of these guys make the same Jack do something.
well, I mean, there's so many layers you can do with that straight off. A ranged Jack can shoot twice.
Yep.
Because it ignores the rate of fire. Or how many times have you seen a Jack with, say, 3 focus charge into your Carnivian, for example?
Yep.
And the Carnivian's still on 2 or 3 wounds left, and it's run out of all the focus.
Oh yeah, it's always that. Got 2 boxes left. I'm going to heal it next turn with my Shepherd.
Yeah. So this goes, oh right, I'll just give you that extra bit of, or as a Warmachine player, you go, if my dice are good, I only need 2 focus, and I can do other stuff, or I give it 3, and your dice are going to be on fire, and you've wasted focus. Here you can say, I'll do the 2 focus. If it doesn't quite do it, he can go over there. So it's really useful, and considering that if you do the choir first, because it's in the same turn, like the Song of Battle, for example, still applies. So they get the +2 to hit, +2 damage when they're doing this.
So it feels like Protectorate a lot about layering things and buffing each other.
Yes, yes.
Bring yourself all together as one, as opposed to bit over here does something, bit over there does something.
Yeah, you will quite easily spend 20% of your army in backfield support, with your Hierophants, your choirs, your vassals,
just to upgrade everything else.
That won't out and out fight. They can, but you don't really want them to. But the stuff that then gets all the bonuses is a lot harder.
This guy can't fight at all. He has no weapons.
Well, the next bit gives him some attacking power.
The Arcane Bolt.
Yeah.
It's a special attack. It's a range 12, power 11, magical attack. At magic ability 7, not too shabby.
And there are an amount of times people forget that they've got that. So if your Jacks have done everything that they wanted to do that turn, and you haven't had to, you don't need the extra attacks from these guys.
Have a 12-inch.
Sometimes it's or the Jack near the end of the game. If people are taking out the Jacks, it can still do something. It can still zap people.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
And the last one, if you want to go through this one.
Yeah, Enliven. It's range 5. Target friendly faction Warjack. If the Warjack is in range, then next time it suffers damage from an enemy attack while it's not advancing, immediately after the attack is resolved, the Warjack can make a full advance. Then Enliven expires. The Warjack can be targeted for 3 strikes during this movement. So what this allows you to do is, if you move your Jack up, say my Jack has charged one of your Scythian, for example.
Yeah.
But there's a Carnivian about 6 inches behind. Yeah, the Scythian's almost been used as a bait, for example.
Yeah.
I can go in. Well, if I feel confident I can take it out without any help.
If you fail to take it out, though.
Well, this is weird timing because you're range 5, so you might put Enliven on the Jack first.
Yep.
It charges in, wrecks your Scythian, and then if you try and then in your turn attack, countercharge. Okay, the Jack will still take the initial attack.
I'll get 1 hit and that's it.
But then he moves away, and then your attacks are wasted. Your Carnivian standing in the middle of nowhere.
And you can come back in with him for the next go.
Or if early turn you go, oh look, you've shot me. I'll now move forward up to my advanced distance, and now I could be in charge range. It gives you a lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
It's a very useful one, but you do need to think about that a little bit. But again, all 3 of those abilities, nothing wrong with any of them.
Nah. Well, considering you get 3 Jacks in the starter box for Menoth.
Yeah.
And which ones are?
They are, because I can never remember. I apologise, Menoth Jacks, all the names get into my head after a while.
Yeah.
You get the Crusader, the Ravenger, and the Repenter.
That's 2 lights and 1 heavy.
Yeah, and one of them is an Arc Node, if memory serves me correct.
It is.
So
it's the Ravengers, Arc Node.
Yeah. After a while with Menoth, it's the
Yeah. So what's we've done the solos, we've got the units.
And we're just talking about Jack, so we might as
well. Might as well go to them.
Yeah, we're whizzing through this, but while we're just trying to find the pages, Menoth, as I said, they do like their jacks. I would say pre-convergence of Sirius, I would say they are probably the most jack heavy of the factions. I know each faction can have a jack.
They've got a specific jack built caster
in every faction, but Menoth, even with a more general caster, because of
your choir, because of your vessel, you can afford to have a lot more on the table.
Yeah. So where are we?
Page 79 for the next one.
Okay. There you go. You can follow along as well. Right. Okay.
First one being the Reckoner, the heavy war jack.
Yeah. Or quite a lot of people remember it because of the names. It's the giant club that looks like an Italian restaurant pepper pot.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah. Very good jack. Very versatile.
Well, what'd you get for 8 points?
Too much. Too much.
Yeah, for 8 points, it shouldn't be that much.
Right. First off, you get Ashen Veil. This model gains concealment, so
-2 to attack rolls whilst within 2 inches.
Yeah. So straight off, its defense of 10 is misleading. It's got concealment, so unless you can ignore that, your defense 12. It's defense 12.
It's defense 12 unless they ignore concealment. But if it's in melee, it's you're at -2 to hit it. So essentially, again, defense 12.
If you're a living model, so again, its stat line doesn't quite give it the justice of what it does.
No.
Then it has Assault, which means as part of a charge, after its movement before making its charge rolls, it can make 1 range attack with its gun.
Range 12, power 13.
Yeah. So
and critical fire.
Yeah. So straight off, early turns you can do these assault charges to add an extra 3 inches. So you can move. You can basically charge 8 and then shoot 12. So that's 20 inch threat. As you said, it's critical fire.
And it's some flare.
Yeah. Models hit by this weapon suffer -2 defense for 1 round.
So it's almost worth boosting the shot and making it easier for yourself to hit in combat as well.
Yep. Or it shoots your opponent. Yeah. You give it the boost, so it hits -2 defense. You can then do with a vassal an additional shot. Easier to hit again.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got the hymn of battle. Right. Again, if we look at this, right, he's rat 5, and the gun is power 13.
Yeah.
That's suddenly rat 7, power 15.
Yeah.
If your opponent has been hit by the flare, rather than another way of looking at the -2 defense is rather than a negative to the defense, give that to its bonus to its rat. So it's then going rat 9, power 15 on that auxiliary shot.
And mat 10.
Yep.
Powers 17, 19.
And then if you have a second Reckoner or another shooting jack, once it's had its defense knocked down, everything else, and it just layers and layers and layers. And if that wasn't enough, for 8 points, that pepper pot I was on about has reach at power 17.
Yeah. Power 19 if you use it in conjunction with the choir.
All of that for 8 points is sale of the century. It really is dirt cheap. You find these so often in Menoth lists, and there is a very good reason for it.
Yeah, it's a nice solid choice.
Yeah. Armour 19, you just can't go wrong with it.
And what was the other jack you was going to suggest?
The other jack I was going to say was the Vanquisher, because Vanquisher you do get in the 2-player set, but not the Battlebox. So I thought to make sure everyone's happy, always go the wrong way.
Yep.
If I let you do this one.
The things I noticed about this first up were the chain weapon, so it ignores shield wall and shield qualities.
Yep.
So you're always going against the basic armour, never being augmented except by spells. It's also got a fresher attack with the Blazing Star, which instead of making normal attacks, you make 1 melee attack at everyone that's in range. It don't have reach.
It doesn't.
Which is a shame, so it's a 1/2 inch melee, but that's still, you can charge him into a unit, hit 3 or 4 guys. At power 16, it's going to hurt.
Yeah, if it had reach, I think for 8 points it would make even the Reckoner look expensive. But you can still get 2 or 3 models. It ignores the shield benefits. It's still very useful in melee. It's mat 6, power 16. So again, if you look at the Hammer Battle, mat 8, power 18.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, even if it hits one model.
We've completely missed the Flame Belcher out here. Which, if you want to go through, since I know you like this so much.
It's, well, I don't mind shooting it when I've done Battlebox games. I don't like being hit by it. It's range of 10, AoE 4, power 14, with continuous fire.
So even if you don't damage what the template touches, it's on fire?
Yep. With again, a rat of 5. If you take into account, because you've always, with Menoth, you've always got to take in the back of your mind what you can do with the Hymn of Battle, because the jacks, it just go hand in hand. So suddenly rat 7, power 16 AoEs. Yeah. But it's, well...
I'm looking at two shooting at a unit, it's AoE 4.
Yeah, but also, because it's the way the Hymn of Battle, because it's +2, not increase the strength.
Yeah, works on the power as well.
The blast damage is power 9 on the blast damage, because it's 7 halved, then you add the +2.
+2, yeah.
So power 9s will shred light infantry still.
Yeah.
The equivalent of power 16 on a direct hit will still hurt medium base, medium infantry, heavy infantry.
Large bases.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
And fire is always good. Power 12 on if you keep burning.
Yeah.
Because if you hit a warcast with that, they don't get their focus to their armor. So an armor 15 caster,
-3 to it.
you can still chip away the wounds. No one likes being on fire.
Guess I don't. So that's a nice pair of jacks we've gone through.
Yeah.
So what we've got going through next?
Well, at this point, if we just quickly recap, we've got the Battlebox.
Yep.
Which is you've got, just so people remember, I'll look at my list. You've got P-Creus, or Creus 1. You've got a Crusader, a Ravager, and a Repenter. So you've got 1 heavy, 2 light, and a very good Warcaster.
Yep.
We'll go for the Warcaster in a second. You've then got a Choir of Menoth, which will help with your jacks. You've got your Knight Errants to give you a
solid front line,
a table presence, and you've got the Bastions to add extra muscle to your jacks.
Yep.
You've then also got the a Vassal, which again can help your jacks
and your caster.
And no, it's the Hierophant.
But it helps your caster, as in the Spiritual Conduit and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then you've got the Hierophant, who is directly helps your caster.
Yep.
So you've got a nice core there to your army, and then to add an extra bit of metal and options to what you play with, you've now got a Reckoner and a Vanquisher. So you've now got the option of 3 heavies, 2 lights, a couple of support solos, support unit, and then 2 good combat units. You've got a nice selection of what Menoth can do.
Yeah. And if you had to choose what sort of jacks you would use personally, what would you go like? How many heavies, how many lights?
I would go. I would say at least 2 heavies, possibly go all 3, depending on the Warcaster. Because even though I'm saying any Menoth Warcaster can have a lot of jacks, you've still got to balance it. So I would say 2 heavies and at least 1, maybe 2 lights, possibly 3 heavies. You can, with the support you've got, you can
afford to run them.
Yeah.
So you really want to use 2 of your 3 heavies, and you've got 3 solid heavies.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So since we got to this point now, now time to give Creus a... Well, we'll have a look at Creus first, and then we'll look at other options. Yeah. Right, so here we go. Page 54. High Exemplar Creus.
Yep.
Do you want to go through this one? And then...
He's speed of 5, strength of 6, mat 7, rat 4, defense 14, armor 15, command 8. He's got his sword, his flout, which is a spellbreaker. Power 8, so PNS 14. His focus is 7. He's got 18 damage, which is actually rather high. He's got 5 warjack points. So, as a package, he's pretty solid.
His defense is a little bit low, but he can live with that.
Defense is 14, armor 15, but the 18 damage more than make up for that.
Yeah.
The Spellbreaker is obviously power PNS 14 again. It's a magical weapon with reach. It's a chain weapon, so it ignores shield weapons and buckler.
Yeah.
And it's got Dispel, so when he hits a model, he breaks off your upkeep spells. So it upkeeps end once he's hit.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes if you're lining it up that a Jack's going to go in and finish the job, say on an enemy Warcaster,
Yep.
but the enemy Warcaster's got a buff spell, Jacks don't have blessed attacks,
No.
but he can go in, remove that buff.
Dispel it. Yep.
Or if you really want to be funny, if one of your units has got a debuff on it, he could go in, hit one of the guys.
Hope you don't kill him, but...
Well, sometimes sacrifices have to be made to remove the buff. I mean, so that there's combinations you can do.
So if, say, Crix, for example, have done one of their spells of -2 speed,
Yeah.
so you can't charge, he goes in, kills one of your guys, they can now charge.
Or if they put it on a Jack, he could hit the Jack, remove that spell, yeah, and then it can charge. Sometimes you have to look a little bit funny, yeah. But it's an option. It's not something you do every time, but having
I think in a power strength 14, you don't really want to be hitting the Jacks.
You don't necessarily have to boost, do you?
No, but it's still going to be minus. It's only minus in like 4, maybe 5 if you're...
If you're, sometimes you have to take the chance, but the options are there.
Oh yeah, and the spell list, if you want to go through this.
Yeah,
quite a few here.
Yeah,
all seem to have fire icons next to them.
Not all of them, but most. He's got Cleansing Fire, so it's range 8, AOE 3, power 14, offensive spell. Causes fire, and on a critical hit, they suffer continuous fire. So it's a nice pie plate to drop down.
Plus 3 to do, which what you get in ain't bad.
No, he's got Defender's Ward. This is a great spell. I'd say. In Warmachine, you've got 3 or 4 good defensive spells. You've got Iron Flesh, which increases your defense, but you do suffer a penalty in your speed. You've got Arcane Shield, which improves your armour for no negative.
No. And then you've got Defender's Ward.
Then you've got Defender's Ward, which gives you it's a range of 6, and you can upkeep it. You gain +2 defense and armour.
That's going to be really good on those bastions.
Yeah, I mean, you suddenly go up to armour 18 with the bond, so they can share the wounds round. Or late game himself, he's suddenly going defense 16, armour 15, base stats.
Defense 16, armour 17.
And then once it's on, just to pay 1 to give you that much of a bonus, it's huge. You're
paying 1 to gain what 2 focus would give you by being camped.
And the defense bonus is on extra. It's a great spell. Whoever you put it on, if you put it on Knight Errants, it's fantastic. You put it on Daughters of the Flame, which we haven't covered here. Very useful. You put it on anything. It's +2/+2. There's no negative to their stats. There's nothing wrong with it. Whoever you put it on.
Next spell?
Yep.
Immolation.
Immolation, yes. It's cost 2, range 8, no AoE, just straight power 12. It's his magic missile, for lack of a better word. Causes fire damage on a critical hit, suffers continuous fire.
Cause that's critical fire.
Yeah, so it's he's just trying to cleanse you.
Yeah, a focus 7, the average rolls are going to hit a majority of casters being defense 14.
Yeah, and again, if we go back to the synergies, where it says it's range 8, if you have a Hierophant, it's actually range 10.
Yep.
If he does his ability so the spell costs 1 less, that's only costs 1 to cast.
Yeah.
He can then put 1 in to boost it.
Yeah, to almost guarantee a hit.
Yeah, so just breaking even. Yeah, so again, there's those little synergies and those combinations you can do. Yeah, the Defender's Ward, again, as I said before, it's range 6. It's on range 8 to be able to get to that person you want it to.
Yeah.
It's just how all those
all has to work together, not the individual.
Now we get on to some of his good. I mean, those spells are good. Yeah, Defender's Ward, fantastic. Now we get to his real tricks.
Yeah.
He's got Lamentation. It's cost 3, range of self, and the AoE is his control. So that's 14 inches from him, and it is upkeepable. Enemy models pay double the focus cost or fury cost to cast spells or to upkeep spells while in his control area. So suddenly 2 to upkeep a spell.
Yeah.
A cost 2 spell now costs 4.
And it states focus or fury,
Yeah.
so that works on both Warmachine and hordes.
And also it's going to be Animize as well. So if your Carnivian tries to cast Spiny Growth, because he's going to be paying fury for it.
Animize are not counted as spells, and it's a cast.
Enemy models pay double to cast spells or up. Okay, sorry, I'm just looking at the fury. But okay.
But but it's a valid point. It's when your caster tries to cast the Animite, it's a spell. When your beast tries to cast it, it's an Animite.
Oh, yeah.
So you will have to pay double if your casters are doing it.
There you go. Just scan reading. I made a mistake, but yeah, it's just the suddenly how limiting it puts your Warlock or Warcaster.
Yep.
Of if I want to cast these spells, upkeep this, and still have some fury for transfer or focus to give out to Jax or to buff my armor.
Yeah.
No way can you do all of that. I mean, some of the real big game-changing spells like P. Haley's Temporal Acceleration, it costs 8 now to cast that.
Oh, she can't cast it. She's only Fury 7.
Squire.
Yeah, but
that's it. That's all she's got.
That means she's not giving nothing to Jax. She's not doing nothing.
Exactly. I mean, that is a huge, huge spell.
Yeah.
And for him, once he's got it up, costs 1 for him to upkeep. It's
yeah. You'd cast that first turn and just walk around with it.
It's a fantastic spell. And then his final one.
Purification.
He was the first guy with it. More casters in the game are getting it, and anytime you see it, it cranks it to 11. That whatever Warlock or Warcaster gets it cranks it to 11. Cost the 3, range of self, AOE control. It's not upkeepable, thank God. Continuous effects, Animite and upkeep spells in this control area immediately expire.
A control 14-inch ray bubble.
Yeah.
That's one hell of a bubble.
If models are suffering from fire or corrosion or are frozen, expires. If you've got a spiny growth from whatever source, it's gone. If you've got iron flesh on this unit that you're about to charge, gone. If you've got anything other than feet, any other kind of buff or debuff, is just gone. It's a complete reset.
But this could be a double-edged sword, could it not?
It does remove his, and that is the downside. But if you're planning on casting it,
you do it as your first spell. You wouldn't pay for upkeep.
Or if you've already got a unit with a buff on it, he doesn't. I mean, he doesn't have any offensive buffs.
No.
Yeah. So he can. Yeah. If he has to wipe out a defender's ward, and that's really the only thing that he could be getting rid of. It's not the end of the world, and if you're in control of when you cast it, you can plan your turn round it.
Yeah.
If your opponent drops it on you, you've got no control of when that's going to happen. It's a fantastic spell, and like his most recent version, Krios 3 on the horse.
Yep.
He has purification still. And his feat allows him to cast all of his spells for free on his feat turn. So he can cast Purification, get all of that he needs to done cleared, and then put his buffs back on under that feat. So he's learnt, within the fluff, he's learnt his own limitations and how to get round them himself.
There's another caster who does exactly the same thing.
Who's that?
It's Val from Legion.
Oh, yes.
Eval, to be exact.
Val too, yeah.
Yep, so, she's got the same feat.
Yeah, so the clever ones do learn, but it's a fantastic set.
Yeah.
So
that's what you get with the starter box.
And that's the starter one. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. So like I said, the first, if you go through these bits we've recommended, and start developing your army, he's a very good place to start. But now we'll look at some of the others that I think would go well. Right, page 60.
Yep.
We got Grand Scrutator Severius, or Severius 1, or a lot of people call him Sevi. It's just easier to say.
Yeah,
if you want to go through this one, Mike?
Yeah, it's Speed 5, Strength 5, Mat 4, Rat 5, Defense 14, Armour 14, Command 9. His Staff of Judgment is Power 8, so PNS 13. He's got a Focus of 8, a Damage of 16, and 6 warjack points. Looking at the profile, low defense, low armor, and a low number of damage points.
Low mat, low rat. You do not want him anywhere near combat.
No, but then you look at the fact he has 6 spells, you swiftly realise he's a spellcaster. He's got a special action called Convert. It's a ranged command. Living models, non-character trooper models in the model's range must pass the command check or become a friendly faction solo under your control for the rest of the game. So he walks up, turns your entire enemy's infantry into his own men.
One model at a time.
But still...
But it could make the difference of getting in the way of a charge from the enemy, because guessing extra models. Yeah.
If you do that, there's a few solos in the game. If you've done that too.
Yeah.
Things like the Journeyman Warcaster, the War Dog.
How sad would you be if he did it to one of your shepherds?
I'll be fine with that.
No, but if you were planning on doing the having the extended bubble,
I'd be more upset if he'd done a Deathstalker solo.
No, but for example, some of your beast control range goes right. It's very, very useful.
It's very useful. He's got a Sacred Ward. It can't be targeted by enemy spells, which explains the low defense, I suppose, in a way.
Yes.
His Staff of Judgment is a magical weapon with reach. If he's in combat, you're doing something wrong.
True, but a couple of friends of mine were playing at Christmas. It's one of these games that always goes in my head. Carver, under his feet, charged Severius.
That's why it's a bad ending.
Severius lived and then promptly killed Carver back on his own, hitting him with his stick.
How?
The dice gods, God knows, but whatever happened, it was just hilarious. We was all around the table watching this, and it was comedy gold. One, that Carver didn't kill him, and the fact that Sevy's just gone with this stick and managed to beat him. It was comedy.
If you want to go through this guy's feat, the Divine Might.
Okay, Divine Might. For 1 round, enemy models cannot cast spells and lose the arc node advantage while in Severius's control area. While in Severius's control area, enemy models with a focus manipulation ability do not replenish focus during their control phase. That's a lot of table control. His control area, you're looking at 16 inches round him. Suddenly, you don't have arc nodes, which to extend your range.
You don't have spells.
You don't have spells. Well, normally you go, okay, if you're a spell slinger that is using arc nodes, you're normally back anyway because you're risking them. Yep. Suddenly they don't work. If you're a more midfield, you can't cast spells. If you're midfield or a frontline caster, you suddenly haven't got focus next turn to do stuff in your turn, and you haven't got any focus to buff your armour. No. It
says do not replenish focus, so it's stuff already stacked on your caster you can use.
Yeah, but
you can't stack anymore. You can't.
Again, I've a few years back, I remember playing a game. I was using the Butcher, and it was late game, and I had Iron Flesh on the Butcher. Yeah. And he was starting to go forward, doing what Butcher does best. Yeah. And then Severius popped his feet. My next turn, because I didn't have any focus to replenish, I couldn't upkeep Iron Flesh. Because I couldn't replenish, Butcher didn't have any focus then to camp on it for his armour. No. So my next turn, I had to be very, very careful because my defence was back to its basics. Yeah. So it's very, very tactical. He's almost thinking the turn ahead here, going, if I do this now, next turn is when you're really going to feel the bites. So it's a little bit of a sneaky one.
It won't do nothing in your turn, but in their turn, it's going to cripple their plans.
Yeah, big style. If you want to go through their spells now.
The first one is Ashes to Ashes, cost of 4, range of 8, AoE star, power 10, upkeep no, offensive yes. If target models hit, the nearest D6 nearest enemy models within 5 inches suffer a power 10 damage roll. Yeah.
Right, notice it says enemy models, so if once the lines have drawn, you can shoot this at some guy that's not necessarily engaged, and it will hit D6 nearest enemy models within 5. So you can suddenly go, oh, that guy on the second wave, I'll shoot him with that, and suddenly my guys that are engaged are fine. They've got no risk, and it can really snipe in a weird way. It's a very good spell.
Yeah. Next one is Death Silence. It's a cost of 2. Sentence, whatever. It's a cost of 2. It's a range of 8. It's upkeepable and it's offensive. It's when a friendly faction model misses target enemy model or unit with an attack, it can re-roll the attack. Each attack can only be re-rolled once as a result of this spell. So you cast this on a unit, you run your unit in, if you miss, re-roll it.
Well, the fact is, where you're targeting an enemy model with this, it basically means if your whole army, if they're targeting that unit or model, are all getting re-rolls. So if you want to say, that model, I've got to take it out.
That unit?
Or that target,
yeah.
I got to take that out. I'm going to be making sure I hit. So again, if you go to your Reckoner, I need to make sure I hit it to knock its defense down for everything else to go in. I'm going to have that re-roll in my pocket.
Yeah.
We've all had those times we go, even boosting, I need 7s to hit, and you miss.
Sure one.
Yeah. This re-roll is gold.
If you need the re-roll, you never use it.
Yeah, but it's better that it's there.
It's better that it's there than it's not. Next one is the Defender's Ward. Again, cost 2, range 6, upkeepable, non-offensive. Same as we explained in the last caster.
Yeah, very good.
Yep. If the next one, we want to go to him, is the Eye of Menoth.
This is his trademark spell, and it is fantastic.
I'm assuming this spell's only in Menoth.
At the moment.
It's a cost of 3, range self, AoE is a control area, upkeepable, non-offensive. Right, it says non-offensive. If it costs 3, it's got to be doing something nasty.
Read it.
While this model's control area, friendly models gain +1 to attack and damage rolls.
All models.
Yes.
So your errants are the equivalent of Mat 8 and Rat 7. Plus, they're +1 on their strength on all their attacks.
Yeah.
You combine that with the Hymn of Battle, Jack does something on +3/+3.
Yeah.
AoE damage will just decimate people.
Yeah.
It's another layer, and such a huge bubble of 16 inches. He can keep safe because his stats aren't the best, and once he's up, paying 1 to upkeep it is wrong, but it's so right at the same time.
It's wrong for your opponent, right for yourself. Next spell, Immolation. Cost 2, range 8, it's power 12, it's not upkeepable, it is offensive. Again, it's fire damage on a critical, suffers continuous fire. So again, setting things on fire. Only range 8, I can't see a reason I'd be casting this spell personally.
It's never wrong to have a cheap zap spell in your pocket.
Yep.
Again, if you've got the Hierophant, it's range 10.
Yeah.
So you've always got to remember that for those. Cost, if you've got the Hierophant as well, cost 1, range 10, magic missile, just
only costing me 1.
Just a zap.
Worth a shot.
Power 12, it will kill a solo. Yeah, an armor 13, 14, 5 wounds solo, you can still take out with a power 12.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it.
My solos you can take out of less than that.
Well,
armor 11.
If you've got Eye of Menoth up, it's actually power 13.
Yeah.
Because Eye of Menoth doesn't. It just says attacks, so magic attacks, shooting attacks, melee attacks.
Yeah.
Again, that's the layering.
Yeah. And the last one is Vision. It's a cost of 2, range of 6. It's upkeepable. It's non-offensive, and it's the next time a friendly faction model is directly hit by an attack, it suffers no damage, but then Vision expires.
Yeah.
So save to whoever got hit by the blast by telling them it's coming. And there's no bad thing about it for 2.
Put that on the Colossus, on the Colossal.
You're a bad man. Bad man.
Oh look!
Why on earth would you put that on the pigeon?
You've charged my pigeon. Oh, you didn't hurt on the charge. Never mind.
That would really upset people.
Yeah.
If you done it to me, I would shoot a pigeon with the weakest bow I could and hope I'd do 1 point of damage so you ignore it.
But it doesn't have to hurt it. It's just directly hit by an attack and suffers no damage. So you've got to balance it. But at the same point, you can just put it down someone's throat, really put the pressure on.
Yeah.
It's a great little spell. Combine that with the enlivens that the Vassal of Menoth can do.
Yeah.
The ability to say you can't shoot me. Again, you put on Colossal, you put vision on it,
Can't shoot this.
and you can't shoot it because of the choir. You've got to charge me. Oh look, the charge didn't work.
Yeah.
It,
Okay. Super.
the layering is just crazy. He's fantastic. I mean, he's got 4 upkeepable spells. So
It's got 8 focus.
he's got 8 focus, but again, if you want to give some to your jacks and this, that, and the other, he's only 14/14. So you've got to, wherever you place him, you've always got to make sure he keeps safe.
Yeah.
But he's got a lot of options, a lot of tools. He's a great utility.
Yeah. And seeing as we've got one really good potent spellcaster there.
We've got 1 potent spellcaster, Krios. He can cast spells.
Pretty much a jack of all trades, except no range.
Yeah. And then finally we go to someone who does not like spellcasters at all.
Yep. Resnick.
Yeah. Or if you go, it always makes me laugh. Page 19 shows the military structure and hierarchy of the Protectorate of Menoth. If you look down, about halfway down the page on the right-hand side, you've got this caster, High Executioner Resnick. He's mentioned there, and his area of specialist is public relations.
This guy's a public relations officer.
Look.
Okay.
Right, Resnick, or Menoth's public relations
Officer.
He basically, in his fluff and his story, he has a big list of people who are transgressing against their beliefs, and he has a big list, and his way of having a quiet word with them is either straight execution or tying them to a rack. So it's an interesting public relations. I suppose you're never going to say no to him if he knocks on the door.
No, they shoot a bigger sword than he has.
Yeah. If it's one of those, it just makes me laugh.
Yeah, and go for his profile. He's speed 5, strength 7, mat 7, rat 4, defense 14, armor 17, command zone 7. Yeah, his sword's called the Confessor.
Yeah.
Pretty ironic. Power 7, Pianist 14, only 6 focus, damage of 17, and 6 warjack points. He's on a medium base.
Medium base is a drawback for him because, as we discussed last week with the Butcher, you can see medium base stuff over small base stuff. So you've got to make sure that if you're going to screen him, you've got to use either similar size or larger.
Yep. Here's what makes me laugh though. Resnick causes terror.
Yeah, because of his reputation.
His reputation precedes him.
If he's knocking on the door, you're going to be scared.
As long as you're in reach range, as long as you're in weapon range, which is reach. So you'd be scared of him once he's within reach range of you.
Yeah, he can get there quick if he wants to.
Yep, he's got a couple of special rules. The Eradicator, that's how you pronounce it, or Excruciator.
Excruciator, yeah.
It's once per turn. During this model's activation, when it boxes a living enemy warrior model, immediate attack, you can place a rack within 3 inches of this model. If you do, remove the box model from play.
So,
midway through a game, he strings up the enemy on a rack.
Yep, he's got one on his back ready on the model. Yeah, he literally, if you're on the list, he's gonna rack you up. And we didn't cover racks here, but they allow warcasters in Menoth to gain extra focus.
Yeah.
Again, for their jacks, for their spells, for everything else. But there is a chance that when you take the focus out of them, they blow up. Or if you attack them, they blow up.
So it was a bit of a complicated thing to try to get into what you'd want to use for a starting thing.
Yeah, but if nothing else, just removing models from play and just stringing up the enemy warcaster.
Just string up enemy models sounds like fun.
Yeah. And then he's got another ability called Witch Hound.
Yeah.
If a model in this model's battle group in its control area is hit by an enemy magic attack. Immediately after this attack is resolved, one model in the battle group in its control area can make a full advance followed by one normal attack. It doesn't have to be the model that's been hit by the magic attack.
No.
Just if one of them's hit, including himself, because he's a model in his own battle group, remember, one other model in the battle group can make a full advance and a free swing. So you've got some...
Some powerful jacks there.
You've got some powerful jacks there, and you've got just the... you want to just cast a debuff spell on this one. Oh, fair enough, he's going to go over here and hit this. Yeah, it can put people in weird situations.
And the Confessor is a magical weapon with reach and purgation.
Yep.
It gains additional dice on additional attack dice and damage dice against models with upkeep spells on them.
Yeah. So if you've got a unit hiding behind a buff spell, as we said before, Defender's Ward, Arcane Shield, yada yada yada.
Give him additional dice.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you and I'm gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
It's a great little ability.
Yep.
We just look at his feat quickly.
Yep.
Enemy models currently in Resnick's control area lose all focus on Fury points. While in his control area, enemy models cannot upkeep spells or be allocated focus, and those casting spells suffer continuous fire. So, straight off, unlike Sevi, he instantly gets rid of all your focus and Fury.
Yep.
So you would have suddenly no transfers. If it's halfway, so suddenly you're out.
I have nothing to reap back from a base.
Yeah, next turn, I can't give anything out to my jacks, for example. And if I go, okay, I'll still try and cast these spells, I'm set alight. Yeah, for your heresy.
Yeah, I'm going to set myself on fire. No, I'm going to keep out of his way.
Yeah.
Right, let's look at his spell list then. Because he's got only 5 spells. It's a lot less than Sevi.
But he's only got 6 focus, so it's all fine. Right, his first spell, Engine of Destruction. It costs 2, range self, not upkeepable, not offensive.
I doubt that very much, but...
Well, good job it's not upkeepable more than anything else. This model gains +2 speed, +4 strength, and +4 mat for 1 round. So
mat
when
11, PNS 18...
Speed 7, mat 11, PNS 18, with reach.
That's better than most jacks.
He's got a 12-inch threat with mat 11, power 18, power and strength 18.
And it's going to hang you up for it.
And if you cast if you've got a spell on you, he's rolling all those extra dice.
Yeah.
It's just immense. He can just chop you in half like that.
Yeah. The next spell being a Hex Blast. It's a cost of 3, range 10, AOE 3, power 13, non-upkeepable, it's offensive. Enemy upkeep spells and animal models directly hit by this immediately expire.
Yeah.
So you've got to directly hit, but...
Yeah, it's not always, but if your enemy's got a spell on them, it's a great way of removing the upkeep. It's power 13 can hurt things. If he has the Hierophant to reduce the spell down by 1, he can spend that 1 to boost it. So it still costs him 3, but he can get the boost to hit, make sure it hits.
Only 5 for 6 is going to want to be boosting.
And it's always a good spell in your pocket.
Yep.
Next one is Ignite.
Yep.
Friendly model stroke unit gains +2 to melee attack damage rolls. And affected models gain critical fire on their normal melee
attacks.
So straight off, +2 to their power and strength is never a bad thing. Yeah, those bastions are suddenly weapon master with power and strength 14.
Yeah.
And if you get the critical, the target hit is also on fire. Never bad. Being able to take out a jack, take out a colossal, take out a gargantuan quicker, more efficiently is always good.
Yep. Now here's the next spell, what threw me a bit. Iron Aggression. Cost of 3, range 6. It's upkeepable, it's non-offensive. It's target-friendly warjack. Can run, charge, or make slam or power attacks without spending focus and gains boosted melee attack rolls.
Yeah.
Because it costs 3 and it's only done on 1 warjack, I thought it was a bit pricey.
But what, you cast it early on, and you're
Yep.
only paying 1 to upkeep it when you need it.
Yep.
To suddenly charge for free, so that you've already got
That's
your
1 point.
focus back. Then when he makes attack rolls,
Boosted.
it's boosted. So
that's 2 points.
Yeah, well-
so you'd want 2 attacks to get your all 3 points back.
or if you put it on a Vanquisher that's got Thresher,
Yeah.
each attack would be boosted.
Makes sense.
Or if he buys an attack, he's getting a free boost.
Yeah.
So you can make sure that if you go in on a high defense caster, you've got a mat 6 Jack.
Yeah.
Just the standard mat for the Menoth Jacks is 6.
Yeah.
So you've got a Crusader. Just quickly look for that, just as because that is your bog standard. Right, so Guardian, right, Crusader. It comes in the battle box, right? It's mat 6. If you're going for your enemy caster, that's like defense 16.
You need 10s.
You need 10s. You put Hymn of Battle on it, so it's now mat 8. You need 8s.
Yep.
And with its Inferno Mace, it's now power 18.
That's +4 against my armour before.
Yeah, you charge for free. That's good. You swing. You suddenly need 8 on 3 dice.
It's a lot more doable.
And then when you buy an extra attacks, you're making sure that each attack hits.
I just wanted to make sure you was going to be getting 3 focus points from it.
Well, it's not necessarily 3. Like I said, it's 3 at the start, and you just 1.
Yeah, to upkeep.
And even just paying that 1 to upkeep it, you can then give 3 to focus to a Jack, and then all 3 of those are extra attacks you'll buy, not 1 for the charge and 2 extra attacks.
No.
So
3 extra attacks.
It's a nice spell.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you was getting everything you could out of it.
Yeah. And then finally, he's got Perdition, cost 2, range of 10, power 10, and it's offensive. When an enemy model is damaged by Perdition immediately after the attack is resolved, one Warjack in this model's battle group that is currently in his control area can make a full advance towards the nearest enemy model. A model can advance as a result of Perdition once per turn. So you can keep a Jack slightly off the front line, safe so the enemy can't charge it.
Yeah.
If you get this spell off on anything, this Jack can make a free advance.
Also do 1 point of damage.
Yeah. So you just a backfield support piece or anything. It doesn't have to be a critical model. It can then move. It can make a full advance, get to where you need to get that charge angle, or to then be in charge range. It just gives you table support. Put it this way: if they change the wording of that, if this model causes 1 wound on an enemy model, move one of your Jacks in a battle group 4 inches.
Yeah.
That's immense. I mean, how would you like it if you had a spell in your Legion that said move one of your beasts in your battle group 4 inches before it activates?
Yeah. Okay. I see your point.
Yeah. The way it's worded makes it sound strange, but when you look at it in that way, whatever the base speed of that Jack is, some of them are speed 5. You go, oh look, I can now move 5 inches to get the charge angle around this terrain, or to be suddenly in charge range.
It's that rewording it to understand it.
Yeah, it's a very good utility spell to give you the options. So I think that will cover it. That gives you a good base selection of bits within the forces of Menoth. So hopefully we've given you some ideas, given you some understanding of the faction, and hopefully, if you trust us, the advice we've given here will help you go on the right path to get a core to your army that will be useful, ready for when you're ready to sort of break out and try other new bits and develop your army further.
So it's a good solid core to the army. There's a couple of nice choices of Jacks now.
And there's still plenty within this book and Gargantuans, Colossals and Wrath to go on beyond this. So there's still years to go through and learn and master. They're a great faction. You could never be wrong with fire. And hopefully you found it useful. So,
last week we done ice, this week we done fire.
yeah, it's polar opposites. Next week, I'm not sure which one we're doing yet, so we'll make it up as we go along. And when the next one comes up, I'm sure it'll be all plastered over it what we're doing. So hopefully, see you soon.